My parents raised my brother like a king and treated me like their maid. When I finally walked away, their kingdom collapsed. Mom, I've been here for you every single day. Where was Tyler? Don't you dare speak about your brother like that. He has important things to do. Important? He hasn't visited you in 6 months. I'm the one who enough. Tyler is coming to the house tomorrow, and you will apologize to him. Hi, I'm Melissa. Today I'm going to tell you my story. But before I continue, please like, share, and subscribe to hear more stories like this. I grew up in a house where my brother Tyler could do no wrong and I could do no right. It wasn't something I noticed overnight. When you're a kid, you think whatever happens in your house is normal. You assume every family works the same way. It took me years to realize that what I experienced wasn't just typical sibling rivalry or parents being stricter with one child. It was systematic favoritism that shaped every aspect of my childhood and beyond. Tyler is 3 years older than me. From the moment I have memories, he was the golden child. My parents, Linda and Robert Carson, treated him like a prince. His bedroom was twice the size of mine. He got a new Xbox every year. When he wanted guitar lessons, they hired a private instructor who came to our house in Austin. When he decided he didn't like guitar anymore after 2 months, nobody said a word about the wasted money or the neighbors who'd complained about the noise through our apartment walls. Meanwhile, I wore hand-me-downs from cousins and got library books for Christmas while Tyler unwrapped the latest smartphone. When I asked for piano lessons, my mom said we couldn't afford luxuries. This was 2 weeks after they bought Tyler a professional skateboard. He left it at Zilker Park and never looked for it. I learned to cook when I was 8 because my mom decided I should help out more around the house. Tyler never touched a dish. By the time I was 12, I was doing my own laundry, cleaning the bathroom I shared with Tyler, and making dinner 3 nights a week. Tyler's contribution to household chores? Taking out the trash on Sundays. Sometimes, Melissa, Tyler needs a quiet house to study, my mom would say when I wanted to have friends over. Tyler could throw parties that left our house on the east side trashed, and my parents would laugh about boys being boys. My dad was no better. He went to every single one of Tyler's basketball games at Anderson High, even the practices. When I joined the debate team and made it to state championships in Dallas, he said he had to work. I later found out he went golfing at the Riverside course that day. The difference in treatment extended to everything. When Tyler got his driver's license, my parents bought him a used Ford Focus. Nothing fancy, but it was his. When I turned 16, my mom handed me bus schedules and said, "Public transportation builds character." Tyler wrecked his car twice, once backing into a pole at the Whole Foods on Lamar, once sideswiping someone in a Target parking lot, and both times my parents paid for repairs without question. I once asked to borrow my mom's car for a job interview in Round Rock, and she said no because she might need it. Then she spent the entire day at home watching The View. Birthdays were another reminder of where I stood. Tyler's birthdays were events. My parents would rent out spaces at places like Auditorium Shores, invite his entire class, hire DJs, and rent bounce houses. My birthdays were usually acknowledged with a cake from H-E-B and maybe dinner at Chili's. One year, they forgot entirely. When I reminded them 3 days later, my mom got defensive. "We've been so busy with Tyler's college applications, Melissa. Don't be selfish." College was when things got really obvious. My parents had a college fund they'd been contributing to for years. When Tyler graduated from Anderson High, they handed him a check for $45,000. He went to the University of Texas, partied for 2 years in the fraternity scene on West Campus, failed most of his classes, and dropped out. The money was gone. When it was my turn, I asked about my college fund. My mom looked uncomfortable. "Well, honey, we used that money to help Tyler get back on his feet after school didn't work out. He needed a new car and first month's rent for his apartment in Hyde Park." I stood there stunned. "You spent my college fund on Tyler?" "It's not like that," my dad said. "We're a family. We help each other. You can take out loans like everyone else. It'll teach you responsibility." Responsibility. That was rich coming from people who'd never taught their son what the word meant. I worked 2 jobs through college at Texas State University in San Marcos. One at a coffee shop on campus, another doing data entry at night, and graduated with $30,000 in debt. Tyler bounced between jobs, never keeping one longer than 8 months. Every time he quit or got fired, my parents welcomed him back home, made excuses, and slipped him money. I graduated with honors, got a job at a digital advertising agency downtown, and moved into a small apartment in South Congress. I was proud of making it on my own. My parents came to see my place once. My mom spent the whole time talking about how Tyler was figuring things out and how hard it was for young men these days. Years passed. I advanced in my career, moving from junior account manager to creative director. I met my fiancé Jason, a kind man who worked as an engineer at Dell. We got engaged at Mount Bonnell overlooking the city, and I was excited to share the news with my family. When I called, my mom's first words were, "That's nice, dear. Did you hear Tyler might be getting promoted?" Tyler was working at a GameStop in Cedar Park. The promotion was to assistant manager. Planning my wedding became another exercise in being second priority. My mom kept suggesting I make it a smaller affair to save money. "Weddings are so expensive, Melissa. You should be practical." Then Tyler called with news. He'd gotten his girlfriend Amanda pregnant. They'd been dating for 4 months. My parents threw them an elaborate baby shower at a venue in Pflugerville and gave them $10,000 to help them start their family. When I mentioned I could have used help with wedding expenses, my dad actually laughed. "You have a good job, Melissa. Tyler needs the support more. He's going to be a father." My wedding was beautiful, but small. My parents contributed nothing. Jason's family helped us, which was humiliating to admit. My parents showed up late to the ceremony at the Lady Bird Johnson Wildflower Center because they'd stopped to help Tyler move into a bigger apartment in North Austin. At the reception, my mom spent half the time on the phone with Tyler, who hadn't even bothered to come. "He's busy with the baby," she explained to guests, as if that made it acceptable. I tried to let it go. I really did. Jason and I built our life together. We bought a townhouse near Barton Creek, had good jobs, traveled to San Antonio and Houston on weekends. I kept my relationship with my parents' superficial Sunday dinners every few weeks where I smiled and nodded while they talked about Tyler's latest venture or his son, my nephew Connor, who I'd met exactly twice. The years of distance gave me perspective. I started seeing a therapist named Dr. Jennifer Walsh at a practice in Westlake, who helped me understand that what I'd experienced wasn't normal family dynamics. "You were parentified as a child," she explained during one session. "You were given adult responsibilities while being denied basic emotional support. That's a form of neglect." Hearing someone validate my experience changed something in me. I wasn't being dramatic or ungrateful. I'd been genuinely mistreated, and it was okay to feel angry about it. Then my mom got sick. She was diagnosed with stage 3 breast cancer at St. David's Medical Center. It was serious but treatable. She needed someone to drive her to chemotherapy appointments, help around the house, and provide support during recovery. I rearranged my entire work schedule. I went to her house on the east side every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday for chemo appointments. I meal prepped on Sundays so she'd have healthy food all week: chicken noodle soup, grilled tilapia with brown rice, protein smoothies she could keep down. I cleaned, did laundry, managed her medications, and sat with her when she felt too sick to move. Tyler called her sometimes. He lived 40 minutes away in Pflugerville, but visited maybe once a month, staying less than an hour. He always had an excuse. Work was busy. Connor had baseball practice. Amanda needed him home. My mom never complained. "Tyler has so much on his plate," she'd say weekly. "You understand?" After 6 months of treatment, my mom went into remission. My dad threw a celebration dinner at Perry's Steakhouse, one of the nicest restaurants in Austin. I was exhausted. I'd been juggling my job, my marriage, and my mother's care for half a year. I'd lost 15 pounds, barely slept, and nearly had a breakdown twice. At dinner, my dad raised his glass of wine. "I want to thank everyone who supported Linda through this difficult time, especially Tyler, who always knew how to make his mother smile." I nearly dropped my fork. "Dad, I was here 3 times a week for 6 months. We know, sweetie, and we appreciate it. But Tyler's visits really lifted your mother's spirits." Something inside me cracked. I looked at Tyler, who had the decency to look uncomfortable as he pushed his ribeye around his plate. "Tyler, how many times did you visit Mom during treatment?" "I don't know, Melissa. I came when I could." 7 times in 6 months. You came 7 times. I was here 72 times. My mom sighed. Melissa, don't make this a competition. You're not seriously choosing him over me right now? Mom, I've been here for you every single day. Where was Tyler? Don't you dare speak about your brother like that. He has important things to do. Important? He hasn't visited you in 6 months. I'm the one who enough. Tyler is coming to the house tomorrow, and you will apologize to him. I stood up. Jason reached for my hand, but I was shaking with rage. I'm done. I've spent my entire life being your backup child, your unpaid servant, your afterthought. I put my life on hold for 6 months while you were sick, and you can't even acknowledge it. Melissa, sit down, my dad ordered, his face turning red. No. I'm leaving. Don't call me unless it's an emergency, and don't expect me at Sunday dinners anymore. I walked out of Perry's into the warm Texas night. Jason followed. In the car, I cried harder than I had in years, the city lights blurring through my tears as we drove back across Town Lake. The calls started the next day. My mom crying, saying I'd ruined her celebration. My dad angry, saying I was being dramatic and selfish. Tyler sent a text. Real mature Mel. I blocked them all except for emergencies. Weeks passed, then months. Jason supported me completely. You did the right thing, he'd say. You can't set yourself on fire to keep them warm. I focused on my life. I got a promotion at work, becoming senior creative director. Jason and I started seriously discussing having kids. I went to therapy and worked through years of feeling inadequate and overlooked. Then the calls came. This time from Tyler. Multiple missed calls over 2 days. Finally, a voicemail. Melissa, it's serious. Call me back. I called. What's wrong? It's Dad. He had a massive heart attack. He's in the hospital. I drove to St. David's Medical Center immediately, my hands gripping the steering wheel so tight my knuckles turned white. My dad was in ICU, unconscious. The doctor said the next 48 hours were critical. He'd need surgery, then months of cardiac rehabilitation and care. My mom was a mess. I can't do this alone, she sobbed in the waiting room. Tyler stood awkwardly by the window, staring out at the Austin skyline. I knew what was coming. Over the next week, my dad stabilized and had surgery. He'd survive, but he needed extensive help. Someone would need to manage his medications, drive him to appointments at the cardiac center, help with physical therapy, and monitor his recovery. My mom looked at me expectantly. Melissa, you were so wonderful when I was sick. Your father needs you now. I felt that old familiar pressure, the expectation that I'd drop everything, sacrifice my time, and fix the problem. I looked at Tyler, who was suddenly very interested in his phone. Tyler lives closer, I said calmly. He should coordinate care. Tyler has work and a family, my mom protested. So do I. But you're so much better at this kind of thing. Because I'm the only one who's ever done it. Tyler's 40 years old. It's time he stepped up. Melissa, please. My dad whispered from the hospital bed, his voice weak. I need you. It would have been easy to cave. Old habits die hard. But I thought about therapy, about Jason, about the life I'd built. I'll visit. I'll help coordinate with doctors. But I won't be the primary caregiver. Tyler needs to take responsibility. My mom's face hardened. After everything we've done for you? That almost made me laugh. What exactly have you done for me? You spent my college fund on Tyler. You skipped my achievements to attend his participation trophies. You've made me feel invisible my entire life. I was there for Mom because I loved her despite how you treated me. But I won't sacrifice myself again while Tyler does nothing. Tyler finally spoke up. I can't take time off work. Neither can I. But you can adjust your schedule. You can ask Amanda for help. You can figure it out like I had to. I left before they could argue more, walking out of the hospital into the humid Texas air. The next months were interesting. Tyler, forced to actually be involved, was terrible at it. He forgot medication schedules. He missed appointments at the cardiac rehab center. My parents, experiencing his incompetence firsthand, started to see what I'd always known. My dad ended up back in the hospital twice because Tyler forgot to refill prescriptions at the CVS on Burnett Road. The second time, a nurse pulled Tyler aside and told him his negligence could have killed his father. That seemed to wake something up in him, but the damage to his relationship with our parents was already done. My mom called once, not to ask for help, but to talk. I never realized how hard this was, she admitted. Tyler forgot your father's pills 3 times this week. It's not hard if you pay attention and care, I said simply. She was quiet for a moment. You did this for 6 months without complaining. I complained plenty. You just weren't listening. Meanwhile, consequences were catching up to Tyler in other ways. Amanda, tired of carrying their household alone while Tyler was always helping his parents, left him. She took Connor and moved back with her own family in Waco. Tyler, who'd never learned to budget or take care of himself, couldn't manage his bills. He'd always had my parents or Amanda handling the details. He had to move back in with our parents. At 41 years old, with a failed relationship and no savings, he was back in his childhood bedroom. My dad recovered slowly. He started asking me about my life. Really asking, for the first time. He wanted to hear about my promotion, my plans with Jason, our trip to Colorado we were planning. It was strange and too late for some wounds, but it was something. During one visit, my dad said something that surprised me. I saw what you did during your mother's treatment. I see it now with my own care. You showed up when it mattered. Tyler talks a good game, but you're the one who actually cares. It wasn't a full apology, but it was acknowledgement more than I'd ever gotten before. My mom was different too. She apologized, which shocked me. I didn't see it, she said during one visit, her voice trembling. I thought I was helping Tyler. I thought you were so capable you didn't need us. I was wrong. I didn't forgive them. Not completely. You can't erase 30 years of being second choice. But I allowed limited contact on my terms. Tyler tried to apologize too. Months later, I was visiting my parents when he approached me in their kitchen. Mel, I'm sorry for how things were. I know I had it easier, and I took advantage. I want to make things right. I looked at him, this man-child who'd coasted through life on my sacrifices. I don't accept your apology. You had every opportunity to be a decent brother and you chose not to. You watched me struggle and did nothing. An apology doesn't fix that. He looked shocked. But we're family. Family is supposed to mean something. You never treated me like family. Why should I treat you any differently? He didn't have an answer. My parents tried to mediate. Melissa, he's trying, my mom said. He's trying now because his life fell apart and he finally faced consequences. Where was this effort when I needed a brother? Where was it when I was working 2 jobs through college while he partied away my education fund? They couldn't argue with that. I left my parents' house that day knowing I'd never go back to who I was, the daughter who absorbed their neglect and kept trying to earn love that should have been freely given. I had my own family now with Jason. My own life I'd built without their help. Tyler still lives with our parents. Last I heard, he's working part-time at a Verizon store and trying to get visitation rights with Connor. Amanda's lawyer made it clear that his history of unreliability would be a factor in custody arrangements. My parents still help him, but I noticed they've stopped making excuses for him. They see him clearly now, maybe for the first time. My mom mentioned during our last phone call that they're worried about what will happen to Tyler when they're gone. He never learned to be independent, she said sadly. That's not my problem to solve, I replied. You had 40 years to teach him. You chose not to. As for me, I'm thriving. Jason and I are expecting our first child, a daughter. My career is flourishing. I have friendships and a support system that actually supports me. I visit my parents occasionally, but on my schedule, and I leave when I want. I don't hate them, but I also don't owe them the endless well of forgiveness they seem to expect. Some things can't be unsaid or undone. Some patterns can't be erased with a simple apology. I'm finally putting myself first, and it feels right. If your parents clearly favored one sibling over you your entire life, then suddenly expected you to fix all their problems while that sibling did nothing, would you step up or walk away?